Hello, folks. We had some technical difficulties. We're back up and running. I needed a 12-year-old to help me figure out how to fix a problem. Wade will be joining us here shortly, and I'll just stall till then. But I didn't want you to think we forgot you. Hello, Kathy and Betsy. I'm going to flip back to our intro screen. Actually, I'll just stick with this. I'll see how well I can just riff a little bit. Not a technical genius, no, just enough to get myself in trouble, and I did that tonight. We lost our streams, and Wade will be joining us here in just a minute. Matter of fact, let me text him and see how soon he can be in. So we have a council meeting scheduled for this coming Wednesday. I'm sorry, Tuesday. I always invite everybody to be at the council meetings, although some are more interesting than others, and some are extremely interesting. This should be a fairly routine meeting. We are going over the budget and approving, hopefully, the budget for 2021-2022. And I'll just give you some highlights of some budget items. We weren't planning on really diving into that tonight, but we can while I stall and wait for Wade. So major items in the budget, there was $300,000 allocated for drainage by the mayor, and that was definitely approved. And then the council, I asked the council to put another $2.1 million in it, and was able to get that done. I have a theory about drainage. We need to be investing money in preventative maintenance for drainage, and we haven't done that very actively for the last 10 years, 15 years, I guess, since we were a city. It's nice to be able to spend money fixing the big problems, the canals, the off-site drainage that helps clear neighborhoods, but there's also roadside ditches and culverts and things we just need to catch up on maintenance. So we are putting $1 million into that this year, and another $1.4 million into some larger projects, and maybe even more than that before it's all over. The city also funded there's Wade right there. Let's see. Wade needs me to invite him by text. So give me just a moment. Let's see here. So let's see if we can wade in here and add a little levity to the matter. So we did have the drainage addition. We also put a couple $100,000 in for a street assessment of all of the paved streets that Central has, about 200 miles of streets, so that we can start addressing some of the maintenance on those later this year after we get the study back. And here's Wade Evans. Hello, Wade. Have we got you on audio yet? There you go. I've been stalling here, Wade.
I appreciate it, man. A little technical difficulties. I got a wild house tonight. I had to find me a quiet corner of my bedroom.
Well, I'll just dive right in. This is Positively Governmental, where Wade and I try to show that you can discuss political things and governmental things respectfully, disagree respectfully, and it doesn't have to be a drama all the time. I've printed out the agenda, kind of a short agenda for this month, this week. The first item is An ordinance to amend the public comment during the council meetings. And it's something Wade and I have talked about for a number of months. And Wade, you want to go ahead and explain that?
It's basically just changing the order of how we hear things. Normally, how it has been is the clerk enters the item, calls on whoever sponsored it. They really
we're losing Wade.
Pass it, and we have some technical difficulties tonight. Can you hear me?
And now we got you back now.
All right. Anyway, make a motion and it's seconded, then typically it goes to public comment.
I can.
This would give us the opportunity to discuss the item prior to us going to public comment, to cover any changes that there may be or go into any greater detail that's necessary before it goes to public comment. Then it would go to the public for the comments that they have, and then it would come back to us and we would discuss it again if needed before we then call for a vote on.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is stop the process of the public having their public comment and then finding out things that we are sharing that we have found out about it and saying, I really would like to comment about that before y'all voted on it. So we're giving the public every piece of information that they can have before they give us their opinion. So don't want to exclude them from any of the process.
Correct.
Then we're jumping into approving amendments to the budget. That basically is just to say, if we had $100,000 for legal expenses and only spent $90,000, we have to amend the budget to within 5% of what we spent, or you get a legislative auditor finding that says you guys didn't budget very well. So you change it at the last minute, get it close to what you actually spend, so you don't get an audit finding at the end of the year. Just technicality. And then Wade, I was going over some of the big items in the budget itself. I talked about the drainage and the street study. How about sharing with us the economic development money that you asked to have added?
Well, I'm hoping that we can put together a committee and brand the city and find our brand and utilizing some of that money. We also have some money for special events to do a little summer concert series, kind of similar to a Live After Five, if you will. Just something to bring the community out, bring people to Central. Get people talking about Central, doing things that everybody typically does, but they go outside of Central to do. And so that's what I'm hoping we can accomplish with that. Another thing is our branding. We have a lot of outdoor opportunities and activities to do out here. We have the bike trails. I'm hoping we can do something with the springs at some point at the Grimble Springs Hospital. But come experience the great outdoors in Central, and people can come and do the things we have and spend their money and have a good time and go on home and educate their kids. That's kind of the destination.
Lose me there, Wade. All right.
Holy Grail. I don't know what's happening, Dave.
There you go. You're back.
Yep. But the destination economics is that's the idea behind this. Getting people to come to Central to do things and spend their money and enjoy themselves, but then to go back to their place of residence and sleep and educate their kids and the school system they're in. So that's what my hope is.
And that pretty much wraps up the council meeting. There's a light agenda, some introduction of some zoning items that we'll go over for the next meeting. And since we're late and going to call this, doing this a little later, I thought we'd go ahead and jump into one other item. And I've got to change some videos. I've got some voodoo going on here, some magic that I've been taught recently. So we're going to talk about our cash reserves. Central has about $50+ million in cash reserves, and as you see council action to free up some of this money, we're kind of going to give you a comfort level that we're not spending too much money, but confidence that we are spending the money that we've taxed and collected from everyone. My recent mantra has been the only thing worse than a tax and spend government is a tax and don't spend government. If we're going to tax, we need to go ahead and return those dollars to the citizens. in road improvements and drainage improvements and economic development, etc. So we want to kind of give you a picture of what the what our cash reserves look like. And boy, in that slick way, what do you think?
That looks good, Dave.
All
I
right.
like it. The green screen. I like it.
So I thought I'd go over the what money we have. If you look down here at the bottom of this bottom box, we have $51 million in the bank. Now that we can't spend all that, and thought we'd go over and tell you why. There's $16.5 million that we have in our general fund that we can do literally anything with. We could put we have before put millions of dollars toward drainage. We've moved it to other funds when we need money. But that $16 million has been collected over the last 15 years that is simply undesignated. There are four funds. The operating reserve. Operating reserve is what if there's a nationwide sales tax drought and Walmart leaves and Central is not generating the sales tax money it needs. We need some money to operate. In that fund is $6.3 million currently. There's an amount that's put into it each year that represents 25% of it's 25% of our franchise fees. And no, I'm sorry. I'm speaking about the emergency fund. The operating reserve is supposed to go up to be funded up to the level of last year's expenditures. So, for instance, we spent $6.3 million last year in our operating budget, so that's $6.3 million. And this next year, we're going to spend quite a bit more than that, so there's going to be more money put in that reserve account. So that theoretically, if we had no sales taxes for the next year, we have the money to run the city. Right?
It's a great position.
Oh, it is. Then we've got three funds that franchise fees come from Cox Cable and AT&T and everyone who provides communication services here in the city, Entergy, Demco, anyone that's using our public lines and public right-of-ways to transmit their product over, they pay us a franchise fee. And we divide that franchise fee. Actually, we changed it last year. Half of the franchise fee goes to drainage, a quarter of it goes to the emergency fund, and a quarter of it goes to roads. So I mistakenly started telling you about the emergency fund a minute ago. Emergency fund is it's actually capped at $15 million. That was raised. We spent $10 million after the 2016 flood, and we got all that back from FEMA, but that's not guaranteed to happen. We have to have the money to go ahead and invest and get us back on our feet and hope for the reimbursements. But that money was that cap is raised to 25 million. So you'll see that 15 million. You'll see that emergency fund growing $500,000 a year over the next 10, 15, 20 years until it's at that $15 million level, and hopefully we never have to use it. And then drainage and roads. Drainage gets half of our franchise fees, and roads gets another quarter of it. So you want to roll with some of that, Wade?
Well, I mean, it's self-explanatory. Drainage is drainage. I don't think it's specific as to what type of drainage. I know we transferred $4 million. I think it came out of that fund. I could be wrong, for the property acquisition of the properties that the Corps is going to recommend we acquire to do the Beaver Bayou project. And then the road funds, and again, that's restricted by ordinance for roads. Now, to clarify though, restricted by ordinance, if we're in a bad position financially, we as a council can also move that money if needed for other things. But that's what the ordinance that we have right now is.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's to tell the public that we're very aware that we have certain things we're going to have to spend money on. So we're putting in a different savings account, a different jar on the counter if you're at home and save money in jars, or if you have different savings accounts for, you might have a Christmas fund and a vacation fund. That's what it is. It's all your money. You can certainly spend it to do something other than Christmas or vacation, but it's kind of an agreement that we've said we're going to put this away for a rainy day, for emergency, for the drainage fund, or for a pothole day for the roads fund, and we're not making a binding agreement to spend it on that. More like it's expressing our intent, and and classifying it as money we have earmarked. Maybe that's the best word. We've earmarked this money for drainage and roads.
Hopefully, we're going to be spending some.
Yeah, I mean the drainage. We actually hit the drainage fund for an additional $1.4 million this year, and maybe more before it's over. There's a lot of projects out there. And as I was talking before, Wade was able to join us after my technical fail. The roads fund. Let's roll in this restricted by law roads. Your Move EBR, which is the new tax that's going to be actually widening Hooper Road and Wax Road for Central. That tax also has an element that sends money to the city of Central to the tune of about $1.5 million a year for us to use on any roads. And the Green Light program, the half-cent sales tax, also sends us almost $1.4 million a year. So almost $3 million a year gets added to our roads fund every year. So if you look at the 3.7 under our discretionary restricted by ordinance out of our franchise fees, and you add that to the 15.8, we're north of $19 million for road repairs. So we are ripe for beginning some major road projects, overlaying. And I saw another post today. Somebody lost 2 tires and 2 rims to a pothole. I hope it was a state or parish road and not a central road. But regardless, would like to see all of Central's 200 miles of roads maintained well. So that's where that money is.
And every neighborhood out there is in line, I can assure you. Which leads us to what's coming next with the street assessment, which is going to be nice. We'll be able to prioritize something that you've worked hard on getting done, and being able to prioritize and have a flow chart of how we should spend that money. So,
yeah, the idea there being that when a road is close to a base failure, you might be able to spend $100,000 to fix that road. If you let it go another couple of years and it goes into base failure, that might be a $400,000 fix because you got to tear up the base and redo the whole road. So this assessment should be stopping us from allowing roads to deteriorate to the point that they're going to need a major overhaul. We can microsurface a road to keep it from getting to where it develops potholes. If it's developing potholes and has not base failed yet, okay, we do an overlay. So we're just trying to catch them before they get to the next level of expensive. It's kind of like getting.
And look, a lot of them are still suffering from the flood. I mean, the flood and the volume of water moving over and under the road beds and creating the messes off the shoulders. I mean, it undermined quite a few of our roads. And so we've done quite a bit of patchwork, but it's time to really, batten down the hatches and do some real road repairs. So,
yep.
There's no sense in this money sitting there earning interest when we have roads that need to be fixed and ditches that need to be dug.
And I guess the main thing I want to circle back, is that how you say it?
Yes, you're going to circle back.
Yeah, circle back. Circle back up top and look at the unrestricted, and the idea is if we have 51, I'll put a graphic at the bottom. Our operating budget for next year is up a good bit because of an extra $1 million in drainage and that $200,000 road study, et cetera. But at $8.6 million, we could literally run the city of Central 6 years without collecting any sales taxes and any franchise fees, and we're well covered. So I'm not overly concerned about how much money we keep. I'm more concerned about investing money in this community for your roads and your drainage and your economic development, so we do have a bright future. So don't think when you see the council asking for $1, $2, $3, $4 million to be spent on something, remember there's $3 million a year coming into roads. There's several $1 million. Actually, last year was a $3.8 million surplus in the general fund. So when you're bringing in that kind of money, we need to invest it in this community's infrastructure, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I was laughed at for using the analogy of when I was asking the Suzanne accountant, our CPA. So we could basically go to Walmart and buy diapers with that $11 million, what it was at the time. I was simply trying to make a point that unrestricted money is not dedicated while we have plenty of dedicated money, that unrestricted money is just sitting in the bank. And so to act like we can't do some things in this city for this city, I think it's not a good message. I think the message needs to be we have a bright future, and we need to do some things to improve our quality of life and roads and drainage.
Yeah, we're not called on to be good stewards of money. We're called on to be good stewards of the entire community. And money's an aspect of that. But being good stewards of the ditches and the roads and the future of our economics, et cetera, that's a big part of the deal. And by the way, I do take strong exception with you, Wade. I believe you wanted to buy potato chips, not diapers, if I recall.
Oh, well, I might have said baby formula. I'm not sure, what's on my head at the time.
Well, we appreciate you hanging with us. Those of you who did hang in and work through the
Yeah, sorry I was late.
technical difficulties things. And Wade was on time originally, and after I told him I couldn't get it going, he bailed on me and said, "Hey, let me know when you get your act together, Dave." So my act is together.
Well, I was working. I was actually drawing a kitchen on the computer, so
Okay.
it worked out. It worked out.
We'll be back next week, minus the technical difficulties. And this is Dave Furneaux and Wade Evans, and see you at the council.